Hey, it's Holden here, DFS and Bets. I got Mangone from RunPureSports.com. That's where I'm with. And Keg from Run Pure Bets. I want to remind everybody, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is probably where you're watching right now. And guess what? We got a 15% off subscription to RunPureSports.com. 15% off Buckets 15, BUCKETS 15, Buckets 15 with the NBA getting going here. 15% off of a life subscription. All right. Pretty cool stuff. I like it. We're also teaming up with Monkey Knife Fight. That'll be pretty cool. And we'll talk about that a little later. Rams, Cardinals, Vikings, Jaguars, Colts, Texans, Saints, Falcons, Browns, Titans, Eagles, Packers. The rundown here. Mangone. Is this a sucky slate again? Because every week we talk, you say it is.
No, I mean, it's fine, right? It's not a bad one. I can't complain too much. So I'm okay with this slate for now. I will say it is weird, Holden. You pull up the slate, you look at the games, and the highest total is the two teams that like to run the ball the most, the Browns and the Titans. Like they love to establish the run, and we got a 54 total. So it is a strange sight to see. But hey, I do think this is not a bad slate. We've had worse, and I'm down with this one.
Good. We'll be getting to that. Hey, Keg, today, if you're watching this today, which would be Wednesday, I just want to promote that Keg is going to be doing a live show during the Steelers-Ravens game. I'm still not 100% sure it's going to go off because, I mean, they had two players practicing that are there that are flying with the Ravens. But that being said, even if there isn't a game, will you still be on today?
Yes, sir. I will still be on today at 3.
All right. Beautiful. We'll just talk about it. Let's get into the bet side first, Keg. Let's get you going here. Rams and Cardinals. And right now, the Rams are 3-point dogs going on the road. 48.5 is the total. Keg, I got to tell you, I'm a little worried about Kyler Murray right now. I think the Patriots did a really good job of keeping him in the pocket. I think the Seahawks did a really good job too. Plus, he's got the AC injury, the AC joint injury. What's your take on Kyler Murray and really this game?
Yeah, I mean, the same could be said for Jared Goff also, who did not look good. The Rams offense could not have looked worse than they did on Sunday. And I don't really care what the stats say. They were dreadful. The defense looked slightly better, but really not too much. They only gave up 5 yards per play, which is solid. But, it was a total flat spot for the Rams. JJ and I both talked about it all week long. It didn't make the sheet for either of us, but we spoke about it on the live shows. He spoke about it on the Friday show. If you were back in the Rams in that spot, you just don't know how this league works from week to week. So oftentimes in the NFL, it really doesn't matter what happened the week before. I think you can make the argument this week that you throw out that game the Rams played against the 49ers, and you come right back with them in this spot. The road woes don't really mean much for Jared Goff this year without the fans. So, you can make the argument to back the Rams here. The problem is, I guess you can make an argument that you can back the Cardinals in this spot too, because, they come in off back-to-back losses at home, which historically is a really good place to back the home team. Now, the Cards should have won that game, right? They missed the field goal to win that game, if I'm remembering that right. So, I think they did anyway. You could figure that out. Personally, I think I would rather back the better team off the flat spot loss. So I'm going to lean with the Rams here, minus the 3. If we see it fall under 3, I'll probably bet the Rams here for sure. As far as the total, I could see this getting over the total 31-24, but I don't like it enough to bet it. But I'll lean over for sure for anybody that's looking for a total edge. And I'll be on the Rams if this line falls under 3.
All right. Very good. Mangone, it's interesting here because the first 10 weeks of the season, we wanted to play Kyler Murray every single week. Now he's taking a step back the last 2 weeks. Do you see a bounce back? What's your take? I also want to get your take specifically on Cam Akers too headed into this week. But start with Kyler Murray. And when you look at him, he's sitting there at 7-6. On DraftKings, and he's at 8-7 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so Kyler Murray is like an interesting guy to kind of figure out right now. We know he's dealing with the injury, and that's definitely something that is concerning, Holden, right? Like, you don't want to be taking guys that are hurt. That can always be a problem. I still think he's perfectly fine to be playing in DFS if you're going to get him at low ownership, right? That is the key. Am I going to get him at a low ownership? That's what I want to know. It is going to be fun if you're just like to watch football, right? Like watching DeAndre Hopkins and Jalen Ramsey should be a pretty good time. So ultimately, this is a fun game I think to watch. But from a DFS perspective, I'm not super interested in this game. I will say, what do the Cardinals like to do? They like to blitz, right? And sending a blitz at Kyler Murray, or not Kyler Murray, at Jared Goff, that can cause a lot of problems, right? For a guy like Jared Goff. I could definitely see Jared Goff having some issues. I could see Jared Goff struggling a little bit here against this Cardinals team if they can get the pressure onto him. That's the key. They have to get the pressure on, which the Cardinals have struggled at getting at. They like the blitz, but they haven't really gotten the pressure that they've wanted to. So again, this is a game where you look at both the quarterbacks. Goff could be interesting in tournaments because of the upside that the Cardinals defense can provide for them because they're not that great of a defense. If you want to do a game stack, I wouldn't hate it. You would probably go with the Jared Goff with a double stack with like a Robert Woods and a Cooper Kupp. That's kind of the route I would go, and I would run it back with probably Christian Kirk, I would say. And then if I wanted to go Kyler Murray, I would be perfectly fine with just playing him naked and running it back with like maybe – I don't know, Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp in like a skinny stack. I think that's a perfectly fine route to go. But this isn't a game where I'm trying to like load up on. This isn't a game where I look at the top of like a ton of leaderboards and I'm like, yeah, there was like a one-off that worked out pretty well here. I think this is a game you don't really touch too much in cash games and you just kind of mainly stack up in tournaments.
So don't even bother. No Cam Akers. Don't worry about the running games on either side, really, even though Drake, I mean, listen, Drake fell into the end zone. How many times last week? Was it 3 times? At least twice. And then the wide receivers, like, do you want to take a shot on Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods? Do you want to take a shot on DeAndre Hopkins at this point?
I guess here's my problem. I hate playing the guessing game, Holden. Like one, I have to guess that, hey, a Rams player is going to have a big game. One, I have to figure out, is the game going to go off? Okay. So like, that's the first thing I have to figure out. If I think it's going to go off, right? Is it going to be with the Rams receivers? And then 2, I also have to figure out which Rams receiver it is. Like, and is it worth it that much to do that? I don't know. I just don't like kind of going to this situation too much. I worry about this game. I think it could just be, more of a boring game. But listen, if you are going to get exposure to this game, I think it's like you game stack it up, right? I don't see it as like, hey, you run like a Hopkins ran back with a Kupp. Like if I'm going to play this game, I'm probably going to play, I'm going to load up on it because no one's playing it. It's like everyone's like 3% owned. And I hope it just goes crazy and hits like a 70 total on the day. And, I'm just basically eating by myself while everyone else is, sitting there struggling. So that's kind of what I'm thinking if I stack up this game.
Yeah. And just Keg, lastly to you, back to the total here, 47.5, 48.5. I mean, basically, and it's 47.5 except for one, 48.5 except for one book. Like, I'm having a very hard time projecting this game either way. And I know you talked about both sides and everything, but if you had a lean, is there a lean on the total, or is this a full fade too?
Man, you know what's making it really hard to back these overs in these Rams game is their defense is legit, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are a top 3 defense in the league, and Murray hasn't looked great, like you said, last couple of weeks. But off that flat spot that the Rams had offensively, I still think it probably squeaks over the total. So it's not a horrible total to get over. So I'll lean over.
All right. I like that. Leaning over on it. Not bad at all. Hey, also want to remind you here on the Run Pure Sports side, and bets too, we're teaming up with Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight's blown up. Use the promo code RUNPURE. You'll get a deposit bonus match up to $50. We're about to enter a really big agreement with Monkey Knife Fight. So again, if you go to Monkey Knife Fight, they got a great app. Go on the website, promo code RUNPURE, get a deposit bonus match up to $50. Gentleman, let's get to the Vikings and the Jaguars. And Keg, again, we'll start with you on this one. The total here is 52. For whatever reason, I mean, Gardner Minshew's done. He's not starting again, even though he's healthy enough to do that. What is it, Glennon time again? 9.5 for 10 is what the spread is at. I mean, here's my problem, Keg, and I really shouldn't always think this way, but I just go back to the Vikings and I say, it's Kirk Cousins. Like, how is he going to let me down this week? Dalvin Cook rolled his ankle last week. I'm looking at all these quotes, though. He says, I'm good to go. Stop asking me about my durability. Do you ask Derrick Henry that? Well, guess what? We don't ask Derrick Henry that because Derrick Henry stays in the game and he just continues to run all over people. So Jacksonville, Minnesota here, 10 points. If you could get it at 9.5, what's your thoughts? And what do you think at 10?
Well, first of all, I mean, did the Vikings even play if Dalvin Cook doesn't talk about an injury? I mean, the guy can't stay healthy to save his life. So, but, you know, despite the fact that the Jaguars played slightly better than normal, I guess, than they normally played, they continue to be a bottom 3 team in the league. Last weekend, we did have the Browns in a teaser on the sheet, but it ended up being a total sweat because the Browns didn't kick a field goal late. But even still, man, the Jags with Glennon moved the ball on pretty much every possession against that Browns defense. So the problem is the Jaguars defense is the worst in the NFL analytically by a mile. And it's the reason that even though the offense has looked slightly better the last 4 or 5 weeks, they continue to give up a ridiculous yards per play number every week. 7.2 yards per play in the end. You know, they just couldn't overcome the struggle. So I don't know, man. As far as the Vikings, they were really lucky to escape with a win against the Panthers last week. They were down 2 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter. They finally buckled down in the fourth. They outscored the Panthers like 20-6, and they come out the other side with the 1-point win. You know, the problem for Minnesota on Sunday was they could not protect the football. They were -2 in turnovers. They fumbled the ball 3 times to put it on the carpet, and they had to claw their way back into the game. So credit to them for having done that to get the job done. But all in all, not a very impressive performance for the Vikings. So, you know, I'm not laying 9.5 with the Minnesota Vikings. I just can't do it. They have not shown themselves to play a complete game start to finish many times this season. And in the NFL, if you want to cover a 10-point spread, you really need to play complete games. And they don't do that. So that, you know, they're a strong team analytically. They're close to top 10 in both offense and defense, but it doesn't bear itself out on the field every week. So I'll lean the Jags, even though I'm not running to the window to bet the Jaguars, but I'll lean that way as far as the spread. The total, probably a pass for me. But I will say this, if you gave me a free bet on this game, I would probably roll the dice and take the Jaguars team total over 20.5. They've been better offensively, and it would not shock me to see the Vikings to continue with those turnover struggles, and it could lead to some easy points on the board for the Jaguars. So, like we just talked about, it's a week-to-week league, but if the Jaguars can replicate the offensive output from a week ago, you should be in good shape to get up and over 20.5 for a team total. Other than that, that's all I got.
That's kind of fancy. Actually, you gave me a lot there, especially for people with free bets this week. Just go out there and, you know, I usually use it on a parlay or two, but I'll throw that in there if I get a free bet. Mangone. So first of all, Cousins freaks me out all the time. Second of all, James Robinson. I'm not sure about using him in tournaments. I have it, but we had a ceiling game last week at 26.9 on DK. He does have a 31-point game, 2 31-point games. Now, he's a really interesting case study here. He just ran all over Pittsburgh. He got 6 targets last week, too, and he caught 5 of those. I wonder if there's going to be more work in the passing game. Maybe you could start with Robinson and then get the Cousins and the rest of these guys.
Yeah, we could start with Robinson. I actually had some Robinson exposure in cash games, and it worked out pretty good. I faded him or I played him over Mr. Dalvin Cook. So, you know, that was pretty solid over on FanDuel. And the reason kind of behind it, and it wasn't that I wanted to not play Dalvin Cook. It was his price was so expensive over on FanDuel specifically. I mean, he was $11K. It was a 1.5K difference between DraftKings and FanDuel. And James Robinson is a volume monster, right? Like, he is just a guy just absolutely getting peppered with targets, runs, just absolutely everything. He's just getting fed all day long. Now, if he gets the touchdown, he has a smash game. If he doesn't get a touchdown, he like plods his way to like 14 or 15, which like, I'm perfectly fine with that price. I'll take it, right? It's a nice little floor. And listen, he can have that ceiling game. Even it felt like in the game that I remember watching the Jaguars and I was kind of paying attention to Robinson the whole way. I felt like I kind of, you know, got that last touchdown late with Robinson. It was perfectly fine. But like, what if the dude rips a big touchdown out of nowhere? I mean, he could certainly do that here against the Vikings. The one reason I kind of wanted to get some exposure to him too, or was maybe not wanted to, but more comfortable with it, is the team total was pretty decent, right? 21. That's what it was last week. That's what it is this week. And it's because that Vikings defense isn't that good. I think the Jaguars can do enough to compete here. It's also in a dome, right? We're starting to get to that time of year, Holden, where dome games are going to matter. It's December, right? It's cold in some places. Being in a dome, that's pretty good. I'm definitely in on the Robinson idea. I think he's perfectly fine. I'm assuming DJ Chark is back this week. If he is back, I still think he is a pretty decent play that you can go to. But I'm not messing too much with the Vikings when it comes to the run game. I think you're going to see Cook and Madison mixed in more. Kubiak's been really talking about, hey, we got to get him fresher for the end of the year. I'm sure you're going to start to see more Alexander Madison. I would not be surprised at all. So he's going to be in the mix. I don't think you can just go out there and play him in DFS, but I definitely think he's going to get some more run. And then the passing game, I do think you're going to see them air it out a little bit, right? I think you're going to see, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, like these two guys, they are just seeing such a condensed, nice target share that I don't want to ignore them. And they're looking at them in the red zone, right? They're actually considering when they get the opportunity, they're doing the whole play action, plays to try and get their guys open and put them in one-on-one matchups and let them, take advantage of it. So I like this offense in general. I think it's a pretty solid one, and they get a really, really bad defense. I do think what you're going to end up seeing is you're going to see Dalvin and Alexander Madison mixed in. And I think you might see Madison, like if it's a blowout Holden, like a 10-point game, they're going to just crank Madison out more. They're not going to crank Cook out there the whole time. So I don't really want to mess with the running backs as much. If you want to get some exposure to the receivers because of their touchdown equity on a site like FanDuel, I think it makes some sense. And listen, a game stack makes a ton of sense too. Like I wouldn't hate going Kirk Cousins, right? Fading the running backs and then going Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, and then running it back with James Robinson. It seems kind of crazy and a little weird, but that game script could work if the Vikings are leading, and it could work if they're losing, and it will really work if they're losing. So that's kind of my all-on take on this game. James Robinson, though, might be my favorite play in the entire game.
James Robinson. Oh, yeah, and Thielen is back. That's big, too. Thielen is back. Team totals here. Again, Keg, we just don't like it, right? Completely stay away from these guys.
Yeah. What you mean as far as the Vikings?
Either side, really. Well, actually, you talked about the Jags, right? But the Vikings, yes.
Yeah. I think it's like 30. I mean, I don't really – do we really want to have to depend on –
No.
Maybe a slight lean to the under. But then again, how do you bet an under against the worst defense in football? So, yeah, it's a stay away spot.
Mangone, that's the whole thing. It's like it looks so good on paper. Everything's so good. They're taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. How are you not going out and just smashing this team with your offense? And then you look at it, and again, it's Kirk Cousins. It's like, all right, Justin Jefferson is emerging. Thielen's back. I still don't feel comfortable. I just don't. But here's my other question from DFS. If Irv Smith is out, Kyle Rudolph, I'm fine with that play in cash.
Yeah, no, I would be fine with that too because of the cheap price tag. Holden, did you see? I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. I forget who posted it. Someone posted like Kirk Cousins and like Russell Wilson stats this year. I think it was this year, and they're like identical. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, identical, man. Like,
stop it.
I'm not even joking. I don't know if it was just this year, but it was like it basically said like if you look at their stats, they're the same guy, which was like incredible to think because like if you told me Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins, like give me Russell Wilson all day. But yeah, that's stats sometimes are a little deceiving. But listen, Kirk Cousins, you know what we do know about him, Holden? He's willing to air it out at least. No, he's willing to air it out. He does suck, but he is willing to chuck the rock, right? And in DFS, like, listen, one reason I saw Big T had like Mike Glennon in his quarterback ranking, someone that he was considering playing in DFS, and it was because he was cheap last week. And the dude said he's going to go out there and ball, right? Like, this isn't Alex Smith who's throwing like 5-yard passes to running backs all game. I want dudes that are just chucking the ball out there in DFS. I mean, it makes sense, right? You don't want quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo. Why don't you want Jimmy Garoppolo? Because he's handing the ball off a lot, typically, because when the Niners were leading, at least that was last year, happening a ton. So I want dudes that are not afraid to chuck the ball around. And yes, if the Vikings are leading, yeah, you're going to be a little bit concerned about what Kirk Cousins can do. But if this game is somehow competitive, which I'm not that scared of the Vikings defense, let's say you play Thielen and Jefferson. If they both have ceiling games, so will Kirk Cousins. Like he has the ability to put up like a 32 fantasy point game while Thielen and Jefferson both put up 25 and the running backs bust on the Vikings. It is certainly possible.
All right, just to let you know, though, Russ has about 500 more yards passing this year. He has 8 more passing touchdowns and 1 less interception.
Yeah, I forget. I mean, it was just one of those things where someone
I get it.
Up some stats. And sometimes people skew stats their way to build the narrative that they want to do. That's interesting. So, I thought it was interesting though when I saw it.
All right. I want to remind everybody, like and subscribe, por favor, right here to this video. DFS and bets, Run Pure Sports. Again, buckets 15, like a basket, buckets, BUCKETS, buckets 15, buckets 15% off your life subscription. And this is what I really recommend. Throw the extra $20 on there a month and get the bet side. Absolutely on fire. I mean, if it's not one guy, it's another guy. If it's not two guys, it's all the guys. College basketball has started. They're absolutely crushing. Like, even if you don't watch college basketball, tail guys. NFL, we still have a lot left this season, including the playoffs. And college football is going on right now. The NBA is starting up. We got some amazing bettors on the NBA side. So, again, I would not blame you for the extra $20 a month. It's completely worth it, and just take a shot on it for 1 month. See how you're doing. And I have a feeling you're going to like it a whole bunch. All right.
By the way, hold on real quick. Guess who has the most yards per pass attempt this year on the
Kirk
season?
Cousins.
8.9. Again, I'm just saying he has a huge ceiling that I don't think people expect, but he has huge downside, right? That's the other thing. And that's why his
that he's a fine
so
tournament play. That he's a fine tournament. Just stack him up, man. Good.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a good stack.
Go for it. All right. Hey, Keg. Colts, Texans, my friend. Colts and Texans. Boy, the Texans are bad. And now their offense is heading into this thing without Will Fuller, who has been suspended for using like donkey steroids or something like that. What a disaster we're looking at. And it's a 3-point road favorite for Indianapolis. Houston, 51.5 is the total in this game. But, you know, at this point, like, what's stopping Phillip Rivers from going out there and crushing Houston? I know Watson is playing his ass off right now, but he's basically down to Brandon Cooks and a couple of tight ends. You know, Kiki Cutie, it's garbage. It's horrible what he's playing out there. And I know that Houston's a bad defense. Indianapolis has a good one. I think that the total to me is interesting, Keg. I don't know if these two teams are getting to 51.5. That hook scares me a little bit if I'm betting the over.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame because the Houston Texans offense looked so much better the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They climbed their way back to 4 wins. But yeah, Fuller going down is really going to hurt this team. You know, first with the Colts, watching the Colts game was really frustrating because I was on the Titans in that first matchup on primetime. Big T was on the show with us that night hanging out. You might have been on the show with us.
I was.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the Titans boat race Indy in the first half of that game. Then I don't think they score a single point in the second half. And I leaned the Titans again on Sunday, but this time I didn't bet them. Sure enough, bro, they run right through the Colts defense and routed that Fugazi great Colts defense 45-26. So, I mean, you know, the Colts couldn't stop Derrick Henry. He had 100 million fantasy points. And the spread was really never in doubt. Analytically, the Colts have a top 10 defense. I guess I agree with that because it's a down year for defenses all over this league. But they're far from elite, in my opinion. So, you know, you can get to this Colts team easily and score points in bunches. Titans hung 45, right? Sunday before that, the Packers put up 31 on the Colts. They were in full control of that game until they choked a 2-touchdown lead away late, which got the Colts to win, but the Packers outplayed the Colts for the majority of that game. So it wouldn't shock me if this line in the game is slightly overvalued on the Colts.
Really?
Because I think the line and the narrative in this game would be slightly different had the Packers not spit the bit and closed out that game. The Colts would be coming into this game off back-to-back losses instead of winning 2 of the last 3 weeks. So I think the line could be a little overvalued. Now, the Texans come in off back-to-back wins, and you were with me on Thanksgiving. Well, they beat the Patriots a week before. Thanksgiving, we watched that game. They severely outplayed the Lions. That offense looked really good, man. And almost 8 yards per play, but now here we are. Like you said, he's down to almost no weapons. So listen, if this line was like 4.5, I probably would have taken the shot on the Texans because I think their offense is really, really locked in, even though they don't have many weapons. But at 3 or 3.5, at 3, I'll lean the Colts. At 3.5, I'm off. I wouldn't bet either side. And as far as the total, Holden, you would think the under makes sense here, but I just don't think the Colts defense is anywhere near as good as the public perception on this team. I really don't. Wow. I don't. So I'm going to lean over. Now, I think the overwhelming majority are going to see Will Fuller out. They already believe in this Colts defense, and they're going to see 52 or whatever the number is, and everybody's going to take the under. And I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to lean the over.
Man, that's interesting. So this leads right into our conversation, Mangone, because for me, this is the big question this week is Deshawn Watson. What's his ownership? What's his production going to be? He's coming off back-to-back 30-point games. He's been going just bananas. But now, again, his wide receiver core is really makeshift, is what it is. But he started running back in, I think, what was it, maybe against Jacksonville 7-8 weeks ago, and he hasn't stopped since. Let's see, I'm looking at his total. What is it, like 8 carries per game? 7-8 carries per game over his last 5 or 6. 4 touchdown passes last week. He was taking on Detroit. He was taking on New England. 7-5 DraftKings, 8-2 FanDuel, Mangone, Deshawn Watson.
Yeah. So before I dive into DFS stuff, I got to talk to Jay real quick about this because this is messing with my mind. Jay,
why don't you, right now? This is going to be about the Colts defense, right?
Why don't you? So I want to ask, why don't you like the Colts defense? Is last game the reason why you're moving off? That's my first question.
No, because JJ and I were both talking about this a month ago. They're fucking, they're Fugazi elite. Like that's what they are. They're
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they're the best defense in the world, Jay, but I don't think anyone understands what happened last week. They're missing their starting center, Ryan Kelly, who's one of the best centers in the league, right? They're missing DeForest Buckner, who's a big deal on that Colts defense. So I never understood why that line didn't move. I ended up taking the Titans last week. So it worked out well. Yeah, but why didn't the line move? I don't understand, Jay. The thing that I just don't get is someone thinks, oh man, like today, for instance, I was talking to my friends and they were saying, J.K. Dobbins is out for the Ravens and Mark Ingram. I'm like, oh, who cares? Like that doesn't matter. You know what matters when the linemen are out. Like those guys matter on both sides.
I'll tell you why. You want
the Titans game?
You want to know why? Because the public saw the Colts destroy the Titans 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but who cares? Who cares what happened 3 weeks ago? What I'm trying to say is
you and I don't care, but a lot of people care. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm trying to say is like when I see those guys out, like I almost played Derrick Henry in cash. I wish I would have pulled the trigger. I feel like an idiot for not. I could not find it was just a mistake on me not being able to find the right combo to make it happen. But I thought it was a really interesting spot for him, mainly because I thought they would be leading. I thought these were two teams that are fighting for the division at 7-3, both trying to win this massive game that could be the decision of getting that home playoff game.
I think the reason why I think they're Fugazi elite is because, everybody, Jaguars put up 28, Browns hung 32 on them. The Bengals hung 4 touchdowns on them. The Colts hung 31. The Packers hung 31 on them. Titans hang 45 on them. Like, that doesn't sound like an elite defense to me.
Well, so that's fine, right? But they don't have to be an elite defense. We're only talking about this one game, right? And what are the Texans awful at, right? Like the Texans, I'm not expecting them at all to be able to stop the run, right? They are going to struggle at that. What are the Colts going to do? They're just going to pound the rock, right? That's all they're going to do. Late in the game, it's just going to be pounding the rock. You know what that's going to help? That's going to help the defense be fresher too as well. The defense is also going to be back, right? You're going to probably have DeForest Buckner back. I believe it was because of COVID issues is the reason why.
I think you're right.
I think I think the Colts smash them. Obviously it's like a division game, right? The teams know each other. I'm not expecting to be 35-0.
Well, I lean the Colts at 3.
Okay. So I know you said 3. I know you said 3.5. I know you said 3.5. You said that
I probably would stay off. Yeah, 3.5. I probably would stay off. At 3 though, I definitely lean Colts.
All right. See, I'm just here for me. I'll give the Texans 6.5, man. I'll give him 6.5 on that.
Hear this guy, Holden?
We'll give him 6.5, Jay.
I don't know. Listen, Mangone. You had me for a little bit. Now you're 6.5 in this thing. I mean, why are you giving points away for free? Are we just giving them away for free?
Let's just hit the alternative line.
Can I have 10?
I'll take 12. Give me 12. How about you, Mangone? 13.5? 14.
Are you giving me the alternative line, guys?
14. Peg, can you go 15? Come on, man. No. I know you were being, you're grandiose here with your I'll take 6.5 or whatever. But I get what you're saying. Listen, there's about 3 or 4 times a year I'll be right and JSU is going to disagree with me, and then I'm right in the end. And I was right on Derrick Henry last week because he was facing a team without Buckner. Actually, their 2 top defensive tackles are out. Are they out this week? No.
Yeah, that's going to change. I like the Colts a lot here, man.
I like the Colts too, but I don't like the hook. Like I can see.
I don't either.
Yeah, that's my problem. Like how many games, man, going do we see? It shouldn't be a close game, and all of a sudden we come down, it's a friggin' field goal or a backdoor cover. It drives me nuts. I love your confidence, though. I absolutely love your confidence.
Historically, in this league, 3.5 covers 55% of the time. 2.5 covers 55% of the time. The hook matters at 3.
It drives me crazy that all these hooks.
We'll see if the hook matters. I'm saying it's not mattering, Jay, this week.
All right. So how do you, Mr. I'll take 47 points on the Colts side. How do you apply that to DFS? Our favorite guy, Jonathan Taylor, is back this week. Who the hell are we throwing to? I mean, can we dumpster dive with Trey Burton at tight end? On the other side, Watson, does he have another 30-point game? What are you looking at here from the DFS side, Mangone?
Oh, I mean, here's the issue. Like the Colts are like a worse version of the Buccaneers in DFS, right? Like you don't want to play their dusty quarterback. You can't figure out who's getting the ball. That's the big problem. If you force me to pick, you said it. Mangone, you got to play one Colt in DFS in your lineup. You have to. I'd probably play Michael Pittman, maybe be Trey Burton just because of the tight end position and tight end suck. But I think Michael Pittman has been playing pretty well. I wouldn't mind going to him as an option, but I don't want to mess with the running backs. You never know who's going to get the ball. I think it's not worth it in DFS. And the Texans side, it's like another issue. Like I don't want to mess with Duke Johnson too much. I know the volume's there. I think that Kike Kute is one of the best values on the board, and you're playing him because he's just one of the best values on the board, and they're trailing, but that's it, right? Like, I'm not saying Kike Kute is going to go out here and have a massive game. It's just a clear misprice, right? He should probably be like 4.5K, not 3.5K with Will Fuller being out. So that's the reason to go to him. You can make a case to go to Brandon Cooks at 5.6 also, but I don't know. Again, this isn't a slate where we have like 555 totals and you have like all these incredible teams playing. So maybe you could make a case in cash games to play Cooks and play Kike Kute. And when you have both those guys, you're creating a really nice floor. So again, I wouldn't hate doing that. And even like stacking it up with a Watson, that would not be a problem for me as like a nice floor play. But I don't know who I'd run it back with. Maybe I'd run it back with Pittman, but this is an ugly game, man. It's not one of my favorites, but I understand wanting to go to it because of the volume that these guys will see. Like Duke Johnson will see a bunch of snaps. The one concern with Duke Johnson, I'll say, is CJ Prosise was getting a lot of the goal line work. And that was just like really strange. Like you saw him on that Thanksgiving Day game. Randomly, they'd be out there and CJ Prosise would be in there when they're in the goal line. And that was very frustrating. He took that one receiving touchdown. So that's my one concern with Duke Johnson, seeing CJ Prosise mixed in a little bit more.
All right, guys, let's move on from that one. That was hotly contested. I like it. Like and subscribe here to this video. We'd love that. Like and subscribe to the Run Pure Sports and the Run Pure Bet side. I'm always in the Discord on that side. The DFS guys got it taken care of. Everything's fine. I do all these shows. I'm always in the Discord with the best guys. So come on, $20 a month, add it on, have a good time, make a lot of money that way. And we also have our Showdown show today. Guys, real quick, because if you're watching this later in the week, that's fine. But we got the Steelers and the Ravens today. I want to ask you a quick question. Free Showdown show. So the best Showdown player in the world, Big T, is going to be doing a show today for you at 1:30 Eastern. It's coming up very, very soon. Real quick, Robert Griffin III, over under 169 passing yards today. What do you think, Keg?
Oh, man. against that Pittsburgh defense.
He stinks too. He's going to get a concussion and probably leave hurt.
I'm going to say probably under.
Ooh.
Now, I know the whole world's laying 10. I just think that, like we're going to be live on the live betting show. I'm just going to try to get a better number on the Steelers live. And
Okay.
Little as I can. I'll lean under, though, at 169.5.
Well, and I'll be hopping on the live show with you later on today, betting it live, because that's what I'm interested in too. I really don't have a feel for this game going in, very much so. Also, and this is a free show, but I'm gonna do this to William Hill. Thank you very much for not refunding my bet after pushing this game back twice and me laying this bet over a week ago.
That's absurd.
Yeah, William Hill's the worst, and I pulled my money out of them today.
While you do that, hold on, I'm gonna give you 2 thumbs up for that, baby. So there, hit the 2 thumbs up on the video.
There's 2 middle fingers up for William Hill, and 2 thumbs up for the video. And Mangone backs me, and Keg backs me too. I took all my money out of there today. They have my last. I have my last bet. They have my last bet. I'm done, and it's gonna lose because I got the Ravens plus 3.5. Screw them.
That is.
You know what? I hope it loses. I don't even want to go back to them. I'm deleting their app after this. I hate them. Okay, anyways, you're in a customer service driven business and you have no customer service. Are they a British firm too? Are they British? Yeah, because Paddy Power took over FanDuel and their customer service is amazing too. Anyways, I'll stop shitting on people. Saints and Falcons. I want to start from a DFS side on this though, guys, and I'll throw the line out, but I think the DFS side to me is the most interesting part of this. Total's 46. New Orleans laying 3 on the road. Last week, Alvin Kamara faded him, liked Latavius Murray. I'm leaning that way again this week, Mangone. It's like Peyton just doesn't even want to bother checking down to Alvin Kamara anymore. We're getting double-digit carries for Latavius Murray. This offense has been turned upside down on its head, and until Breeze comes back, I don't like Kamara.
Yeah, so I get that. I heard you say you're going back to Latavius Murray. I mean, can you guarantee me he's going to get the workload? Like,
no, you know what? I'm taking that back. I'm not going back. It's not because of that. It's more the matchup than anything else. I think he can get you 10 points this week. I don't think he's scoring 2 times again, get you 25. How about this? If I have a choice, who's going to have more points this week? I could see Latavius Murray, half the time getting as many points, if not more than Kamara.
Yeah, so this is the time where things get interesting, right? So we have if you had to pencil in, if you had to say that there's 2 matchups on the season I can roster Alvin Kamara, what would they be? They would be against the Falcons, right?
I know.
Yeah, they'd be against. I'm not trying to convince you to it, but the price is getting cheap too, right? The price tag it's $7K, and maybe it'll go down more if he has another bad week. I get it. In tournaments, I don't hate it. I think it's interesting. Cash games, I wouldn't end up doing it. But the reason you would go to it is because of the ceiling that it could provide, the ceiling that it could have for you. And because Atlanta, we know what they do. They give up pass, they have a lot of pass, catches to receiving running backs, and they can play really well there. Maybe they are kind of running Murray out there more and doing this because they're just trying to save Kamara. That could easily be it as well. So that would not surprise me. But yeah, I get it. I don't want to get behind Latavius Murray because what can happen is they can just do different things, right? They can change it up. The Saints, it wouldn't surprise me if they ended up doing something completely different. And Latavius Murray's price tag is not like 4 or 5 or something like that. It's 5.9. So I'm not as interested in him. Not really interested in the receivers that much either on the Saints. And it's just weird seeing a 46 total in a Falcons Saints game, right? This is not something that we typically expect. I'm assuming Todd Gurley's back, but if Todd Gurley's not back, listen, those 2 middle fingers you gave, I want to give those to Brian Hill right now because that was not a good time this weekend. Me and Brian Hill are not friends. I don't want to mess with that running back situation with the Falcons. And then Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, they're good tournament plays, right? Julio Jones is 6'6", but I think I can just go elsewhere. In DFS, this is a game where I think I'm either stacking it or I'm just staying away from it. I don't see myself just taking a piece here, taking a piece there. It feels very similar to that Rams and Cardinals game, where if I play it, I think it's going to go crazy and I'm going to stack it up all the way. But if not, I'm just going to stay away.
Hey, since I'm flipping everybody off, can you guys flip? Give me the flip. I want to see your hand signal here. How do you guys do it? Do you do it like a bird or you just do this?
I don't know.
So you pull yours back and you do this, right?
I guess.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So, I used to be like this. but now I am like this. I
That's
think
how
you get older, you just pull it back and you're lazier, right?
Back, bro. You pull it back.
Usually we save this for the premium, but I'm so salty still at William Hill. It's not even funny. Okay, Saints Falcons, my friend. So I want to get your take on Taysom Hill, like moving forward, because he did look like doo-doo against the Broncos. I didn't think he did much at all against the Broncos. He's got the Falcons. Falcons defense playing much better. You said this like 3 weeks ago. You're like, second half, I'm going to be looking at the Falcons. And you know what? You're right. Their defense has stepped up, dude. They've looked really good. Aside a total, a thought?
Yeah, I mean, so the Saints played a game in week 12, but did they really? I mean, when Cush is as good as the other team's quarterback.
Oh, come on.
Are you really playing an NFL team? So obviously they crush, right? But that game doesn't matter. What does matter, though, is the week before. I took the flyer on the Falcons plus 4.5 against the Saints. The line closed at 3. We beat the line movement, and it meant absolutely nothing. The game was really never in doubt. Taysom Hill played better than we all thought he would, except for Tony. And here we are again, man. The Falcons, like you said, they played the most complete game of the year last week against the Raiders. So yeah. We mentioned it on the shows. I had a Raiders plus 3.5 ticket in my pocket. I mean, Falcons plus 3.5 ticket in my pocket, but we didn't really throw it on the sheet, but we did mention it on the live shows. I have to tell you, I'm tempted to come right back with the Falcons.
Wow.
The Saints defense is the real deal, but I don't think Atlanta played anywhere near the game they're capable of a couple weeks ago when they first played the Saints. I think that they can have a much better offensive performance in that game, which leads me to want to come right back with them and take the points again. I would like 4, though, and I'm hoping that this line will make its way there. What worries me is I'm not sure, because everybody saw them really beat up on the Raiders. So I might not get the 4, but I'm going to try to hold out to see if we can get it. At 3, I'll stay off. And if the money, like I said, if it moves, I'll throw a unit on the Falcons again. As far as the total, I'm going to lean over 46 here. And for the same exact reason, I think Atlanta can come with a much better performance offensively this time around. So if you like Atlanta here, you have to like the over. If you like the Saints, you probably want to lean under. So because I think Atlanta is capable on their best day of beating this team, I'm going to lean over.
Okay. I don't mind it, man. I don't mind it. And the Falcons are just playing much better football. It's as simple as that. Defensively, especially. I mean, it really is. It's interesting to see how they've taken some leaps and bounds there. Again, like and subscribe to this, please. We would love to get that. There's an algorithm, and the more likes we get, the more people watch. So that's pretty awesome. Push us up, and then we thank you very much. Browns Titans is our next game. Derrick Henry will be facing a team with their defensive tackles this week, but it's December. How are we fading Derrick Henry? I don't know how we're doing so. Tennessee, 5.5-point favorites. 54 is the total. Ooh, Keg, I want to go to you on the total real quick, and then I want to get back to Mangone for Derrick Henry. How is this going to go over with the Cleveland offense? I mean, is this just going to be running? What's going on here?
You know, I'll tell you what, I probably lean over in this game.
Really?
Yeah, Mangone made a good point. Probably your best 2 running back duo in the league is on the Browns. And then, in my opinion, either the best or second best running back, obviously, on the other side. But the Tennessee, it cannot be understated how bad the Tennessee Titans defense is. They are historically bad on third down. They cannot get off the field. And that leads to points. And on the other side, if the Browns can give up 25, almost 32 to Mike Glennon, then the Titans could hang 35 on this team without thinking twice. So I lean over. And listen, I think the Browns probably the worst 8-3 team in the history of the league. Maybe that year Favre was on the Jets and they started 8-3 and never won another game. Like maybe that was the other worst 8-3 team. But I mean, the Browns are brutally bad. So, but I do think they can move the football, and they are going to score because everybody scores on the Tennessee Titans. They are terrible on defense. So for that reason, I'm going to lean that this goes over.
Wow.
Well, Jay, why do you think the Browns are bad?
Because they have a shitbag quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, their quarterback's not great. I'll agree.
And their defense gives up a ton of points.
Yeah, well, so one thing I'll say about the Browns is they have, again, like I'm a big line person. Like offensive linemen, their offensive line is really good and their defensive line is really good. I don't think they're like a terrible team, but I also think the Titans are pretty good too. I think overall this is going to be a fun game to watch. I think you're going to see a really good back and forth.
I agree.
And I lean Titans, right? I don't know if I'd actually get the points, but I think like obviously winning. I think the Titans are the better team overall. My one concern is the Browns are a little banged up on defense, right? That they have not, like they've been in and out all year long. Guys have been in, guys have been out. Myles Garrett, though, is going to be back. They are missing their safety, Harrison. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So I think the big thing I want to know is which guys are in and which guys are going to be out on the Browns defense, because they haven't been fully healthy all year long. It's been like once someone gets healthy, another guy gets hurt. So this Browns defense, this Browns team is definitely not your conventional team. They like the ground and pound more. And I'm not a huge Baker Mayfield guy, but I will say it feels like that Tennessee, where do you beat them, Jay? If you had to say on defense, wouldn't you say you beat them in the pass game rather than the run game?
100%.
Which is why I do think this plays really well in the Titans' favor. I do think this Browns team is a solid team, but I think that like all the things the Browns like want to do, like it just doesn't, it's not a good matchup. I think that's going to be the problem.
My only issue is the line's almost a touchdown. And when a team can't get off on the field on third down and they give up a ton of points, it's hard to lay a touchdown with a team. Like my angle would be hopefully the Browns get on the board first and you get a serious discount on the Titans live and then hit the Titans.
I guess the thing I would want to know with that is how ridiculous is it? Like, is there regression coming for that Titans defense where they're able to get there? Also, you got to keep in mind, like, if you're going to tell me that the Titans are really bad on third down and the Titans are leading throughout the game, right? Baker Mayfield is going to be the guy that has to get those third downs. And how confident do you feel in Baker Mayfield actually getting those third downs? I might want to bet on the Titans having some positive regression coming their way, where they actually roll more than you think.
You could be right, but like they're not bad on third down. They're like almost the worst team in history on third down. So I mean, I don't know, man. I just can't. It's tough for me to lay a touchdown with a team that it feels like every week are giving up 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I guess I see more regression in that, like where it's like flukiness of like third down. Like what makes it like, I don't know, what makes a team like not be great on third down? You know what I mean? I just think it's more random.
You would think the secondary, right? Because on third and long, how many third and longs have we seen this year for the Titans where like 3rd and 12, it's an automatic first down. They just can't get off the field.
Yeah, but again, you're betting on Baker Mayfield for it, so I would bet it goes better in their favor. I like calling on the Titans. I think let's hang we're giving points out there, right? Let's give 7. We'll give 6.5. So
well, I agree with you. I think the Titans are the better team, no, without question, in my opinion. So yeah, I agree. I understand why you like the Titans.
Yeah, hold on, we're giving out points on this show, left and right.
I know you're giving 15 in one game. Now we got 12 in another. I don't know what the hell's going on here. This is crazy.
I did. Maybe it's because on Monday I did a bunch of Packers alternative lines because I figured they would smash the Bears pretty hard, and it worked out pretty well. So I can't complain.
Hey, real quick, we don't talk about player props very much, but it goes so in with it just ties in with everything. Like, where do you think they throw Derrick Henry's prop? Is it in the 90s? There's no way they set it at 100, right?
I'll tell you, pretty much all year it's been somewhere around 22.5 carries.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around 100 yards.
Gosh, you think it's gonna be that high, huh?
I think it can be, yeah.
I will say, I think personally, and like this would be a take that no one agrees with, I'm sure. But you're going to have spots here coming up with Derrick Henry where they are not going to just throw him in and just beat him up in the grinder. They are actually going to ease off him. The coaches talked about how, listen, like this team in the past, right? Like they've been to the playoffs, before they had
believe that.
Oh, I believe it. Yes, because they want him healthy for the playoffs. So
they want to win.
They have a fresh Derrick Henry. When they play the Lions, you're not going to see Derrick Henry get, like, I'm looking at their schedule now. They play Cleveland, Jacksonville, Detroit, Green Bay, and Houston.
It's
so
horrible.
what's gonna happen is Jacksonville and Detroit, those two, that little stretch, you're gonna see more of that Foreman guy. You're gonna see more of I forget who the other pass catcher is.
Deontay Foreman. McFarland is the other guy, I think.
Yeah, you're going to see more of those guys in those games, I think. And it's because they want to make sure that Derrick Henry is fresh for those playoffs. They don't need to kill him, right? In the past, they were just trying to grind to get to the playoffs. Hold on. I get you're rolling your eyes.
I'm rolling my eyes. I'm rolling my eyes just because. Okay, give him 18 carries, and he still goes over 100. And here's his recent rushing props, too. 86, 85.5, 78.5, 92.5, 100.5 against Cincinnati, 100.5 against Tennessee. I mean, they might be throwing that back to 100.5.
Yeah. So Twatty's in the chat saying, well, his usage is going to go up in bad weather. Well, Jacksonville's not bad weather at Jacksonville. Detroit, I mean, again, Tennessee and Detroit. Tennessee is not going to be like the worst weather in the world. Now, Green Bay, yes, Green Bay, they're grinded out. At Houston in a dome, last game of the season, if they've already clinched stuff, they're not going to run him in the ground. Bet his rushing attempt unders in certain spots. I wouldn't say this is the spot to do it, but look for it. And again, there could not be a spot, but I'm just saying that's things that I would be looking for.
I'll tell you
what the coaches are talking about.
The one thing that Tyler has brought up is that sometimes they use McNichols more than
McNichols. That's who it was, not McFarland.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they use it
more than you think they would.
Yes, they use it more, and they said they literally have said it's calculated. He said we're calculated this. We're using them more for X, Y, and Z, and that's why. That's just their reasoning behind it. So, But I didn't talk too much about the DFS stuff. It is like the highest total, so I should mention some things.
Real quick, and I'll bring this up on Derrick Henry too. He's only out there for about 2/3 of the snaps. But the whole thing, that's, you know what? And Mangone, you're talking about rushing attempts. I'm just talking about pure yards.
Yeah, the yards is tougher. I'm talking about the attempts because that's where I think you're getting an advantage.
I mean, what if they're locked in close games though, too? It's like it's really tough for me right now to predict ahead of this week. But this week, if they set this thing at 22.5, like, is he going under 22.5?
This is not the week I would do it. I'm saying let's wait. Let's wait a couple weeks. I'm just saying this is like a look ahead. Be looking to grab those lines. This is probably not the week for it, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is a great game overall. Like AJ Brown is a stud. People forget that, and he gets kind of lost in the shuffle. So he's a great option you can go to. Corey Davis is pretty cheap for like a wide receiver too, and one of the highest totals on the entire slate. So don't ignore him. I think he'd be an interesting cash game option, tournament option. So don't ignore that. And then on the Brown side, they're going to want to try and run the ball a lot. Like, I get that. Nick Chubb is a great option. Kareem Hunt, great option. The problem is taking your pick on which guy to go to, right? That's one of the concerns. They might lean on Chubb a little bit more, but maybe you see more Hunt. I don't have like the splits in front of me. If I was basically really trying to make a decision on Chubb versus Hunt, I would need to look at the snaps at like when a team is leading, when a team is losing, and then try and build my game script in that fashion. But yeah, that's kind of how I would approach it. And I don't hate Rashad Higgins here. I mean, we talk about this Tennessee pass game not being good. Rashad Higgins is decently cheap, and he's like a big play kind of guy. I wouldn't mind maybe getting some exposure onto him. I think he's perfectly fine if you see them passing more. But Jarvis Landry is the Browns' #1 guy that you'd want to go to. If you look at his targets, they're very up and down. But here they are, 5, 6, 11, 5, 2, 11. And if the game's going to be a shootout and close, Jarvis Landry will get his targets.
I give likes, subscribes. Those are wonderful things. Monkey Knife Fight, MKF. Check it out right now. If you get into Monkey Knife Fight, we're teaming up with them. Promo code RunPure. Get a deposit bonus match up to $50. The bets guys are in there just talking trash right now. For some reason, Joey, we're constantly talking about my hair. He likes it today. Joey, thank you very much. Twatty Lottie, what does it mean to be a part-time yacht salesman? Sounds like it's lucrative, though. So I'm fine with that. I'd be a part-time yacht salesman. I never thought about that.
What chat we talking trash in, Holden? In this
YouTube. Right? They're talking
YouTube chat. Oh, I thought it was a Discord chat. I thought that's where you
were. No, this is public show, man. This is public show.
If if you're doing like lightning round, like rather than going into like the whole Packers Eagles game, are we breaking it down or are we just gonna do like hit it really quick?
What?
Packers Eagles.
Do you need to do it quick?
Well, no, I just didn't know if we had to get in under the gun before 1 o'clock.
Oh, no, unless you do.
No, we got some time. We got the next show coming up, but that's at 1:30. But you got some time,
fine.
Jay.
Yeah, Jay, come on. Namaste, buddy. Namaste. Philly at Green Bay. Let's get to it right now then. Huh? 9 points. Yeah, good looking out, Jay. -9 for Green Bay at home against the stinky Philadelphia Eagles. Totals 46.5 to 47 is what I'm seeing it right now. Listen, you look at paper, Philadelphia's pass defense has not been that bad, but he's got to go up against Aaron Rodgers this week. They got to go against Rodgers. Carson Wentz looks like a complete and utter disaster. They're getting Ertz back. I mean, that might help.
Oh, bro, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Me, Joey, Spread, and Twatty had an hour-long heated debate. Would you take Jameis Winston right now to start on that Eagles team over Carson Wentz?
No.
God damn it.
I'm on the Winston side. I can do a whole podcast on this. We don't.
Simon
will kill
seriously.
Simon will kill me.
Like
so
we had it was like an hour long. All of us said, give me Winston over Wentz. Wentz looks absolutely god-awful.
No, because people forget how bad Jameis Winston is. I mean, listen, Wentz makes horrible mistakes, but Winston makes as many, if not more, horrible mistakes. Like, I'm the only guy I think that just cannot stand Jameis Winston, never wants him as a quarterback. Horrible decisions on the field, horrible decisions off the field, complete jabroni.
So he stole a couple crab legs, all right? It happens.
Not even that. Since then, you had the date rape thing. It's so many horrible things with this guy.
But if you took away that last year, that 30 and 30, right? Touchdown and picks.
Yeah.
He wasn't terrible.
He's not going to be allowed to throw the amount of volume that anywhere except for where he was throwing there because Tampa Bay's defense was so bad.
All right. So really quick, in my opinion, as far as the game.
Hold on. No. This is a much better conversation. All of you guys went with Jameis Winston?
Me, Joey, and Spread said Jameis Winston right now would be a top 25 quarterback in the league, and it's not even close.
Well, Wentz is top 25. He sucks, but he's top 25.
And we all said that we would take Winston over Wentz. Twatty initially was like, Wentz is legendarily bad. And then he was like, okay, maybe he's a top 25 quarterback, maybe. And then I got him to the point where he was like, Wentz has played really bad this year, so I would have to sit down and think about it. But Twatty is not a Jameis Winston guy at all. And I think he's clearly a top 25 quarterback that can play in this league right now, and it's not even a question.
But Wentz is a top 25 quarterback. That's not saying much.
I mean, he doesn't look like a top 25 quarterback right now.
Wentz is a top 25.
He's top 25.
Listen, Simon's going to kill. Let's do the last game. We'll argue this on the Run Pure Bets thing during the Steelers thing. I'll hop on. I could talk about this for.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So anyway, as far as the game, as far as the game,
love this show. Keep going.
Are the Packers capable of beating this team by 10 points? 100% they are. But if you think that they're going to cover, I wouldn't lay the points. I would bet their team total over 27, which you can get out there right now. Now, I do understand that the Eagles defense has looked better, and they specifically looked better against Seattle. But I'm still not fully sold on that Eagles defense right now. And I do think that Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Lazard, they're going to get whatever they want on that defense. I believe that. So I would take the Packers team total over. I think it's a safer bet than laying 10 points because look how anybody that was on Seattle threw up the other night because Philly went through the back door on a 2-point conversion with no time left after a 50-yard bomb. So with these big spreads, you can always come through the back door, especially when it's 10. I think the safer bet, you go over the Packers team total at 27. So, and as far as the total, I'll lean over 47, but the side is a pass.
All right, so here's my question about this one. What are we doing with the Packers passing game, man, going with Rodgers, Adams, and the Lazard King, if he's back and playing? Because he got targeted 6 times, left in the third quarter, had 4 catches for a touchdown. I actually like him as a GPP play this week if he's out there.
Yeah, he definitely makes sense in tournaments. I think that Lazard could definitely be a good option there. What do we know about the Eagles, right? We know they are a massive, massive pass funnel, right? It's hard to run on them. It's not the easiest thing to do. We do know the Packers love to run the ball, though. They will definitely do their best to try and get the run going. I do think Rodgers will take advantage with Davante Adams. The one thing I like a lot about Davante Adams in this spot is how do they use Davante Adams? They use him at the goal line, right? Like they use him they use him kind of like just a goal line weapon, which some teams do that with their guys, some don't, right? Like the Falcons don't do it with Julio Jones. No one knows what they're doing with that, whatever. But the Packers, they actually do that. And I don't know if you've seen, man, Davante Adams on the last couple of games I've been watching, dude, that man has gotten up there to get some balls. Like they had just been chucking that thing high up where just only he can get it. Yes. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see more of that. So they're using him more like a goal line guy. If you're seeing it's like, second and goal at like the 2, it's hard to run on the Eagles. Just toss it up to Adams. I think you're just going to see them do more pass plays in the red zone than you'd expect. And on a site like FanDuel, you love that for Davante Adams and DraftKings too. You got to like it too. So I think Adams is one of the best DFS plays of the week, and definitely want to get some exposure to him because Packers have a massive total, and hey, they're going to put up points, and Davante Adams will probably be part of it. On the flip side, if Adams is really high owned, and we know the Eagles are really, really difficult to run on, Aaron Jones is a great turn option if you're going to tell me he's like 2%, right? He's got to be really low on though. I need to know what the percentage is. It's got to be very low for me to take a shot there, especially because they do mix in Jamal Williams more than I would like and more than you expect. On the opposite side, Jalen Reagor, Dallas Goedert are interesting options. I think Dallas Goedert's probably the better one to go to, mainly because he's a tight end. It's just tight ends are not the most fun position in the roster. Price tag is still pretty decent. It's getting up there, but Packers are definitely a team you can pass on, and you expect them to be trailing most of the time. So Carson Wentz will likely look to his guy, Dallas Goedert.
So even with Ertz back, and I was just looking in weeks 1 and 2, Goddard out targeted Ertz 17-14. I mean, he's getting 14.5 targets per snap.
I didn't even know Ertz was back. I guess that's new. That's new.
It just came. I got to tell you, this makes me like Goddard more in tournaments because he's still going to look for him.
Yeah, he will. I don't know what Ertz price is if he's like completely mispriced in some spots. Right now, I think I'm looking at, this is DK, so he's 3.9K. I'd have to see and like kind of hear some more coach speak and just kind of see how the week plays out. But I mean, I think they're both in play. But Goddard is Goddard's definitely the go-to guy right now.
All right, gentlemen, I want to remind everybody, thank you very much, first of all, for watching. Second of all, if you're watching live right now, coming up in less than 30 minutes is our Showdown Live, which is a free show. We'll give it to you for free today for the Wednesday day football between the Steelers and the Ravens, okay? Make sure right now, if you haven't subscribed to runpuresports.com, use the code BUCKETS15, 15% off for a lifetime subscription. That's it. 15% off. You stay with us, you get 15% off. It's wonderful. 20 extra bucks. You get the bet side. Simon, thank you so much for making us look pretty. Keg, I'll see you soon, huh? Mangone, I'll see you soon, huh? You guys take care of yourself. Very good. Yes, I'm Holden. Keep running pure.